We are going through turbulent times in our nation these very days, and debating a lot what message I want to share with you. And I want to take one message from our parsha, which I think is very relevant for all of us, to all of us, and share with you. And something we can take, even if we can't change everything, we can take to ourselves something the little we can do. In our parsha, Moshe Rabbeinu goes through a bit of the history of the past 40 years in the desert, and he tells the story of the sin of the Meraglim. And he says that the Meraglim said that the land is great. Tova aretz asher Hashem Elokeinu noten lanu. The land that Hashem is giving us is great. And Moshe Rabbeinu says to the nation, you didn't listen. You cried in your tents, and you didn't want to make aliyah. You didn't want to come to Eretz Yisrael, and you were afraid that all the nations of Israel are going to kill you, and that's why you were punished. And I said to myself, wait a second. Didn't Moshe Rabbeinu forget something? Didn't the Meraglim say Lashon Hara on Eretz Yisrael? Didn't the leaders say in their own words that we can't do it, it's impossible, we saw their walled cities and giants, and it's impossible, and there's no way we can do it? Hey, that part is missing from the story here. I think the answer is very simple. Because it's true, the leaders sinned, and the leaders didn't behave properly, and they got their punishment. But the punishment for all the nation of Israel didn't come because of their leaders. It came because of the nation itself. We have to take responsibility on ourselves to do what needs to be done and not do what shouldn't be done. And Am Yisrael in the desert got punished because they cried, because they didn't listen to the good words that were said that the land is good. They didn't listen to the promise, to Hashem's promise versus the Meraglim. They didn't listen to Yoshua and Caleb versus the other 10 Meraglim. And because they cried, that's why they were punished. And what I take from that is, to these very days, is we have very serious arguments of what the right policy of the government should be. What is the right way to maybe oppose it if you're opposed to it. But where it gets to, and what level it gets to, even if leaders are taking steps that are wrong, speaking things, saying things that shouldn't be said, or taking measures that shouldn't be taken, we need to be careful not to be lured after that. And we can argue, and argue vehemently, I would say, about our different views. But we cannot hate each other. We cannot hurt each other. We have to take upon ourselves to draw the line where we go. Each and every one of us, and our friends, and our families. And in the spirit of President Herzog's words in the Congress just a couple of days ago, is to remember we are on one family. We all sit at the same table. We live in the same country. And that we have to maintain. And if we have to argue about a lot of things, so even if legislation passes or doesn't pass, or whatever the leaders do, we need to make sure we draw our lines. That is what we can take upon ourselves and not sin as the nation. And if we as brothers and sisters draw these lines, and remember that although we have different views, we're all one family and we're all one nation, and that has to be preserved, so that I'm assured that we will be able to get through our differences and be able to reconcile them one way or the other, and we have a bright future. And that's the way. Yeah, we can argue about things, but that's the way, if we know to draw the lines and we don't succumb to different types of things from the leaders that aren't right. So we will stay as brothers and we'll stay one nation, and Bezrat Hashem, we will also merit the full redemption and Binyan Beit HaMikdash, Bezrat Hashem, in our days. Shabbat Shalom.